and welcome back to Miss Jody's Music Time. We have a fun activity today. It's kind of like a quiz, but I think of it more like a game show. I want to see if you can identify the sounds of the instruments. I'm going to take you through a series of instruments, and I'm going to play each of them for you, and I want to see if you can guess what that instrument is. It's called the Super Secret Sound Spectacular, or name that instrument. So, before we get started, you might need a piece of paper and something to write with, and I'm going to put up a list of instruments for you so that if you want to create a word bank to choose from, you can do that. Or if you just want to test your knowledge without that, that is fine too. Let me take a little tour for you and show you what instruments we're going to be using. And again, if you just want to test yourself even more, just skip over that part. The instruments that we have to choose from in our Super Secret Sound Spectacular are the string bass. We have the bass clarinet, the viola, the violin, clarinet, piccolo, flute, oboe, the alto saxophone, the soprano saxophone, the tenor saxophone. Pan up to that, it's a big one. We have tambourine. We have a harmonica, a slide whistle, a ukulele. We have jingle bells, trumpet, trombone, French horn, euphonium. If you can see back there past the cello neck, you see a bassoon. And we have the cello. We also have the bells, the cymbal, and a snare drum. Let's take a look at that list of instruments. Okay, it's time to start. Let's see how many you can get right. Instrument number 1. Instrument number 2. Instrument number 3. Here's instrument number 4. We are now on instrument number 5. Here we go with instrument number 6. Here is instrument number 7. Listen to instrument number 8. Now we have instrument number 9. Here's instrument number 10. Now we hear instrument number 11. Get ready for instrument number 12. Instrument number 13. Here is instrument number 14. Here's an instrument number 15. Now we have instrument number 16. Coming up to listen to instrument number 17. Here is instrument number 18. We're all the way up to instrument number 19. And now it's instrument number 20. Instrument number 21. Instrument number 22. Instrument number 23. Here's instrument number 24. And finally, the last one is instrument 25. Okay, our little game show is over and it's time to find out how you did. Let's see how many you got right. So, how did you end up doing on the quiz or the game show? I must say that there were times that I had a hard time identifying some of the sounds because when I hear it live, it sounds different than when I have it on the video. But that's the best way I can bring it to you right now because I can't come to your house to play all these instruments, right? Right. So if you want to know what you scored on the test, since there were 25 different possible answers, you can take the number of answers you got right and multiply by 4, and that would give you what your percentage is. So see how you did. Now, I thought it'd be a fun idea if we had a craft or some kind of homemade instrument that you could go ahead and try out today. And I've decided that tuned water glasses would be so much fun to try out. So you need some glasses. You don't need all of these glasses. I just happen to have this many. And they don't have to be this shape, but you want glasses that are the same kind so that they're close in the sound that they make. Now, before I put any water in these glasses, I wanted to show you that even though these glasses look exactly the same, they have a little bit different sound from some of the other ones. They don't all sound exactly the same. Take a listen real quick. So you can see that these two had a much higher sound, or at least a little bit higher sound. And when we think about these glasses, they all look exactly the same. But the amount of glass that is in each one and the size of the dip inside the glass changes the sound just a little bit. Now, I think what I'll do is I'll go get some water and I'm gonna fill these up and show you how you can do different levels to create different sounds. I'll be back. Okay, we're back, and I've filled my water glasses in all different levels. Now, when I was in my kitchen filling my water glasses, I was thinking to myself, do you have to have all the glasses matching? Do they all have to be the same kind of glasses? Actually, no, they don't have to, because different size glasses will actually make different notes, different sounds. So I wanted to show you that I have a big glass and I have a smaller glass. And when I go to tap on these, you can hear this one has a lower sound and this one has a higher sound. Now, a lot of times in music, when something is bigger, it makes a lower sound, and when something is smaller, it makes a higher sound. And these two glasses work that way. Not every glass is going to work that way, but those two did. So, back to my water glasses, one of the things that you will discover is the more water you put in your glass, the lower the sound is going to be. And the less water means the sound is going to be higher. That means your empty glass is going to sound the highest it can sound, and the lowest that glass can sound will be when you fill it all the way up to the top. Now you can even hear that this one doesn't have as big of a vibration because there's not as much glass that can ring up there. But this one has a much bigger ring to it. So then you say to yourself, okay, well, Miss Jody, now how do I find the exact notes that I want to find? Well, What I did was I started by thinking of a song that I wanted to play. And I thought Mary Had a Little Lamb would be a great place to start. So I started with this glass. I don't know if you can see very well, but it only has a little bit of water in it, and it is my red glass. I made them different colors so that you'd have an easier time seeing how high the water was. And there's another reason I color them, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So I tapped on this one, and I thought of that being my first note. Mary, Mary would be the second note that I'm looking for. So as I poured my water in, I thought, Meh, pour my water in, Re is what I'm looking for. And I stopped pouring the water when I found that I got to that note. Now I thought of the third note that I needed. Mary had. So I took my water and I poured until I got to that note. So then I knew that I had the three notes that I needed to play Mary Had a Little Lamb. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow. Now, one of the things I want to point out is what I'm using to hit my glasses with. What I'm using is a plastic straw from a reusable cup that I have. Now, I could have used something like a spoon, but I didn't want to crack my glasses. And I knew that if I took something metal and hit it too hard, it would definitely have an easier time cracking it than something that's plastic. So that's why I chose this. So you've gotten three glasses to the right notes, but then you might be thinking to yourself, well, Miss Jody, sometimes when I go to hit them, I forget what order I need to hit them in, and I mess up so many times. Well, let me tell you, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, when they had early kinds of music, the way they passed on that music was by singing it to each other and teaching each other that way, or maybe playing it on their instruments and teaching somebody to play it on their instruments. Later on, they discovered that they could write down different patterns that they were playing on their instruments or singing, and that would help to translate that for the next person, just like the alphabet does with making words and reading a book. We can read a book and then we can pass it on to somebody else. So music took that same direction, and people figured out a way to write down what patterns of music they were using. Let me show you. A long time ago, music looked like this. There were all kinds of different squares, and the squares would go up or down depending on which way the notes would go. What I did was I took my notes that I played on my water glasses and I wrote them down with colored squares. The black squares in there meant there was a little pause. Let me show you the second song that's on this page, We Will Rock You by Freddie Mercury. For We Will Rock You, we start out with the note that's actually clear box on my sheet. And that's because we don't have any water in it. I didn't have a way to add a color because there's no water in it at all. So let's listen to that. Rock you, rock you. We will rock you, rock you. Let's look at that too. So now you can see on the bottom of this page that we have the song We Will Rock You. And again, I color-coded those little squares to tell me which glass to hit. Now music developed over the years, and we came up with a more interesting system of writing down which notes to play. Let me show you the difference. After a number of years, we figured out a notation system using 5 lines and different kinds of notes to say how long something should be played. You can see that Mary Had a Little Lamb looks very similar to the other one that I had, but now it has notes on the music staff, the lines. Let me show you We Will Rock You. Here is what it looks like if we wrote out We Will Rock You on the notation system that we use today. One of the great things about this notation system is if you're a beginner and you don't know the names of the notes, that's one of the reasons that we use our colors, because we'll be able to read our music from left to right and we'll be able to follow the colors instead of needing to know the notes just yet. So, one of the things that I wanted to tell you is that it's super fun to make up your very own kinds of music. You can make up your own music. Do you know what that makes you? What are you called if you write your own music? You're called a composer. That's right. So you can become a composer and write your own tune. And you think to yourself, well, that's a great idea to use the colors because then I won't forget what I made up the next day. Because I don't know about you, but if I made up something today and didn't write it down, I most likely wouldn't remember it tomorrow. So I made up my very own original composition and I titled it Miss Jody's Glorious Glasses. So let's take a listen to my new music. There it was, the world premiere of Miss Jody's Glorious Glasses, played on tuned rainbow water glasses. Let me show you what that music looked like. Here is what my music looked like once I wrote it down. You'll notice that it's quite colorful and has some fun patterns to it. It's almost like artwork. So if you have some free time, I'll bet you have some free time, it would be great for you to try out some tuned water glasses and see if you can come up with your own music. Try to play music you already know and sound it out, and then make up your own. And then try that notation system with your markers and write down what you played. Make sure you give it a good title too. I can't wait to hear your compositions. Have so much fun playing the tuned water glasses, and thanks for listening and playing along with my game show and hearing all those different instruments. I hope you tune in again for Miss Jody's Music Time. See you later! Once again, it's time for Miss Jody's Mad Jam Song Selections. We just got done with our tuned water glasses, and I would play you the songs that I picked out on the tuned water glasses, but I'm just not that good at it yet. So I'll just tell you what to listen to. The first song I wanted to recommend was Old Time Rock and Roll by Bob Seger. And I think you're gonna love that song. The second song goes back a little further in time, and it is called Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. Ah, the Beatles. And the last song I wanted to recommend for my Miss Jody's Mad Jams today is Eye of the Tiger. And that is by the group called Survivor. So go listen to those songs, have a great time, and I'll see you next time.